All right, it is 9 o'clock. Good morning, but we only have 5 people in. So again, I'm going to give till about 5 minutes after 9. We may have a smaller crowd today. That's okay. But I'll give until 9:05, and then I'll start up and I'll show you what I've done so far, and we'll talk about the rest of the class. So I'll see you in about 5 more minutes. All right. Are you able right now on your screen to see up here where it says final scratch programming assignment? Can somebody say yes or no, please?
Yes, I see it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I started working on this last night, but unfortunately we had some power outages and some problems, and my battery had already drained down. So I'm not finished, but I'm going to show you what I've done. I have shared it. And then I'm going to ask that you do one of two things if you want to. So again, this was the program. I've got it set up right now where you can input a name. It'll tell you the current date. You can input a year. You can input a month. And you can input a day. Now, believe it or not, the hardest one of these to do that's in here is to input the day, because if the month is January, March, May, July, August, October, or December, if it's one of those 7 months, the day that you put in must be between 1 and 31. But if it's April, June, September, or November, if it's one of those 4 months, the day of the month you put in must be between 1 and 30. And if it's the second month of the year, which is February, if it's a leap year, you must put in a number between 1 and 29. And if it's not a leap year, you must put in a number between 1 and 28. So I'm going to change my share in just a second and show you what I've done on that. I still have to do this, and I'm going to try to finish that up this morning, plus the problems that I have. Now, I have implemented this logic. I make sure the user provides a name. I have implemented this logic. I ask for the year, and I'm sure it's between the current year and 115 years ago, which would be 1906. I check if it's a leap year or not, and I did this based off of here. That all appears to work.
Excuse me, I can't see your screen.
Oh, thank you. I'll reshare. Can you see it now?
No, but it says my internet connection's unstable, so.
Oh, okay. Well, what I'm doing is I'm just reading from the PDF that I gave you yesterday for the last assignment. So let's see. I can go out on chat and I can put it out there again. I don't know if that'll help you or not. If your internet connection's unstable, it's probably not going to help too much.
I have the PDF in front of me right now, so it's
okay.
fine.
All right. So what I'm saying is I was able to do number 1. I was able to do number 2 based on this URL. I was able to do number 3. I'm in the middle of working on number 4 right now. So I'm going to show you all the code I have. I have shared it, and I'll show you where that link is. All right. After I get done with 4, I'm just going to go in order. So I'll calculate the person's age. I'll show their regular astrological information. I will show their Chinese New Year information, and I'm going to try to put that into lists. Now, you have not gone through lists yet, neither have I. All I've done is I have watched that video that's 8 minutes long that's right here, and I've started to look at the Scratch Wiki for lists. That's all I've done. I have got it so that the user is able to run it again if they so desire. And as I already said here, this is a hard program. So let's assume for a second that you even try this. So let's say you try this program and you decide that, you know what, this program is way too hard. Then what you can do is Can you see on the screen right now, does your share say, go out to https://scratch.mit.edu/starter-projects? Can you see that? Can you
I
see
can't
that?
see it.
We
You
only
cannot.
see the completed projects.
All right, so let me try to share it again. Now do you see it? Go out to starter projects. Can you see that?
I still can't.
All
We
right.
can't.
Can everybody else see it?
No.
All right, then let's see if I do a new share and I do it based on my screen. Now can you see it? It's got 1, 2, and 3 on it.
Nope.
Well, then we're having a problem with our screen sharing. So let's see. What do you see on your screen right now?
The brick
completed
breaker game.
The brick
The
breaker game?
completed projects.
Yeah, the completed projects.
Okay. You see all these completed projects? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then let me add this to the bottom. Now, when you go down to the very bottom, can you see on your screen the 1, 2, 3 right here? Can you see that? 1, go out to https scratch MIT starter
We can only
project.
see the top of your screen.
You only see the bottom of my screen?
The top of your screen.
I see.
Rainbow art.
All right, then let me try to move this to the top. Now can you see? Go out a line in blue that says go out to https://scratch.mit.edu/starter projects. Can you see that?
No.
Is that a no?
No.
Then I'll tell you what. Let's all try to do this right now. Everybody. And I'm going to do the same thing with you, so give me a second. All right. And I'm going to do a new share right now on my screen. Can you see on your screen, does your screen now say starter projects?
No.
Does anybody's screen say
Nope.
starter projects? Wow.
No.
I think your screen is frozen.
Okay. Let me try to do okay, I'm doing a stop share and I'm going to try to do a share screen again. Now can you see starter projects?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
We can.
Okay. Okay. If you would all of you open up a new browser window. All right. So open up a new browser window and I want you to type this in. Don't hit enter, please, until I tell you to. Type in, as you've been doing, scratch.mit.edu, but don't hit enter. All right. After you've typed in scratch.mit.edu, put in a slash, a forward slash, so that goes the top to bottom. It goes from right to left. It's the one that's right next to your shift key. And type in starter, STARTER, hyphen or a minus sign, projects. And tell me then if you get the screen that is showing right here.
Yes, I get it.
Is there anybody who tried doing it, you didn't get the starter project screen? All right. So the program I gave you, I believe, is too hard because I'm struggling with it. So what I would like you to do is to go out to this starter project screen, pick out any one of these you're interested in, or you can do your own. All right. And this will give you a starter project. Make it whatever you want. Literally, make it whatever you want. Then when you get done, make sure, so for instance, let's say that I choose animate the crab. All right, so I click animate the crab. It loads that project in. You may or may not be able to see it. You have to go switch back to my screen now, but it shows it and I can do a remix on it. So I'll do a remix. Now I've got animate the crab on my screen, but I can make it do whatever now. So I could make it dance. I could make it do whatever. So what I'm telling you is what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pick out any one of these projects that are in here under starter projects. Oops, let's see. Start. You understand what I'm asking you to do?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there anyone who does not understand? After
So you
you
want us
get,
to just like add to them?
yes, you can take all their code and get rid of it and put your own code in. You can add your own code to what they've already got. You can change the colors. You can add sprites or remove sprites. All right. And then when you're all done with that, I'd like you to share it. And then whatever, so you've done this, okay, you remix it, boom. And then you share it. And when you've remixed it and you've shared it, it's going to give you some kind of an address up here. Okay. Then what I want you to do when you're done with yours is to email me and put on the email your name and then this scratch.mit.edu/project/ with the number /. If you do that, then this weekend, I'm going to try to build a website, and that website's I want to be able to put in there a project that each one of you have done. And it looks like there's 8 of us in here right now, including me. So if I were to get 7 of these, I'll put them all out on the website. So it will be something again like this. And can you see where it says our awesome campers?
Yes.
Okay, so yours will be in here like this. These are some of the ones that the people did last year. Some people did with the starter project, just like I'm asking you to do. Some did their own projects. So when you're all done, email me at jpscott@ranken.edu. And if you don't know that email, just look at one of the emails I sent you. I'm going to work on this project this morning. Then at 1 o'clock, at 1 p.m., I'm going to show you what I've done. And hopefully I'll have it finished by then. And if any of you want to share yours and put it out on the chat, then I'll bring yours up so everybody can see yours. Does that make sense?
Can you repeat it?
Sure. What I want you to do, like we said, is to go out to this starter projects. Pick out a starter project, anyone you want, or create your own brand new one, anything you want. When you're done, so I'll grab a different one. Let's say I grab this Pong starter here. All right. So when I grabbed it, you have to do a remix, right? To copy it. So do a remix. So now I've got this. Just so you know, these are comments right here. That's all these yellow things are. We didn't get into comments. But right now, if I were to run this program, it looks like this. So you can see it's sort of like the one we created. All right. And I don't think I'm very good at it either. So. So you can see it right there. I probably wouldn't use that one, but let's say you did. Then it gave me a number. So when I did the remix, it gave me scratch.mit.edu/55376386. So it's done all that. Then I can work on it and do whatever I want to do with it. So for instance, if I wanted to come in here then and change the color of the ball or something, I could do that. Or the color of the paddle, or add music. I could do that. Then when you're done making all of your changes, click share. When you click share, it makes it available to everybody. Then what I want you to do is to grab this thing that's up here that's got the address, copy that, send me an email with your name on it and this link, and then I will put them out here. And this afternoon, then we can take a look at some of the projects that people did. And we'll do that from 1 to 2, and that'll be it then. Does anybody have any questions?
How do you send emails?
How do you send emails? It depends. You might want to ask your parents, but if you don't want to do that, so let's say you don't know how to do an email, that's okay. Then just go into the chat window. All right, and in the chat window, you'll put in something like, for instance, I'll put in, this is the email from last year from that summer camp. So all you have to do is paste that in, send it to everyone, hit enter, and that's it. You don't even have to send an email then. You can just do that. Does that make sense to everyone who's listening?
Yes.
Yes.
Does it not make sense to anyone? All right, then we will meet up again at 1 o'clock. I'll show you what I've done. And if you want to, you can show me what you've done. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to continue working. So I will see you again at 1 o'clock. All right, this probably will only take a little bit of time. A couple things. First of all, the question just got asked, and it was a nice lead in because I was going to bring this up. What do I actually teach at Ranken? I teach 4 classes. The way that our classes work at Ranken is all of the web or programming classes that you take are Monday through Friday, so 5 days a week, and we meet 4 hours a day. If you're in a first year class, so if it's one of these two, you go from 8:05 in the morning, really 8 o'clock until noon. And if it's one of these two, you go from 12 o'clock till 4. And that's basically what I do. So what are the classes? Well, the first class, you learn basic website design. You actually go in and create websites. So what you learn in there is the hypertext markup language, HTML, cascading style sheets, which is CSS, and JavaScript, which is a programming language. Now, some of you may even be familiar with one or more of those terms, but what I wanted to mention to you was that JavaScript is the first programming language that we teach in there. Why do we teach that one? Because it's one of the easier ones for people to start with. And when you forget to do something with JavaScript, typically JavaScript guesses what you meant to do, and it does it for you. So you might say, well, if that's so easy, why didn't we teach that instead of Scratch? Well, JavaScript, it's a little bit more intricate. It would have worked a lot better if people would have actually been here and been in the classroom. Then it would have worked a lot better. But last year we tried teaching Scratch in this kind of format. It worked fairly well. So we did it again this year, and I think you guys are all to be commended because I think it did very well. So in the first semester, students learn how to build websites. Then in the second semester, they learn a full-fledged programming language called C#. It's a Microsoft language, and one of the reasons they learn that language is because it's used by a lot of companies in the St. Louis and surrounding area. All right, so I mean, that's what happened was years ago, my boss had a meeting with all the leading business people, the movers and shakers, so to speak, in St. Charles County and in St. Louis County, et cetera. And they said, what kind of courses do you want us to teach? And that's kind of how this all started. So that's the first year, website design and learning to program in C#. Then in the second year, this first class, this JavaScript that they take, it's JavaScript on the client side. So in other words, they're very simplistic programs. In the third semester, in this database-driven web development class, they use Node.js, which is JavaScript on the server side. So that we actually create stuff in there that you can basically set up not just for yourself to use, but for other people to use. And we use what are called APIs. I don't want to go into it in too much detail or confuse anyone, but we work a lot with databases, and we grab information from the internet and we bring it into our own programs. All right. Then finally, in the fourth semester, we teach people how to create Android apps using the Java programming language. And we create about a dozen apps as a class. And then students are required, I give homework too and tests. And students are required, starting from the beginning of the semester, to create their own app. It can be a game, it can be anything. But that one app, they actually must publish it to the Google Play Store. So that, in a nutshell at least, that is what we teach in here. But what I want to mention to you is the language that we're using, Scratch, it is a programming language, yet it's not. And what do I mean? We don't have to actually write any of our own code. So for that reason, technically, it's not really a programming language. However, a lot of the things that you get built in to, quote, real programming languages, unquote, it's not available in Scratch. Either you cannot do it, period, or you've got to write a lot of code to do it yourselves. So again, why am I telling you that? Well, let me change my share. And let's see, I want to go back to here and to here. So let me bring that up. Hold on just a sec. All right. Can you see my program on the screen right now with a little wizard right here?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't get very far on the program. All right. Part of it was that something came up in here that I was required to leave for a while and do something else. But I want to show you that just the little bit of code the little bit of stuff that I did, this right here is the loop that makes the program go. So what does it do? It set the size of the wizard to 50% because when he's 100, okay, and I run the program, well, I guess I didn't save, but he's pretty big. So I only made him 50%. So I just set the size to 50. We've done that before, so that's no big thing. Then again, we've set that play again to true. Then this is all the code that makes it go. The first thing, you've seen this before, I initialize my variables. I've got one called name, where the user enters his or her name. One that's called birth year, so it's the year you were born. One that's called is leap year, which figures out whether or not this year is a leap year or not. One called birth month, and one called birthday. Then I came in and I called input name. And what does that do? That basically comes in here and it says, hey, ask the user what's their name. And as long as they don't leave it blank, you're done. That's pretty simple. I understand that. Then we set the current date. That isn't hard either. That's built into the language. Whoops, so that's right here. I created a variable called calendar because it seemed to make sense for a name. And I joined together the current month with a slash, the current date, that's the day of the month, with a slash, and the current year. All right. And then I printed it out. Now, when I said that today is, technically we didn't even really need it there because I printed it out up here too, but that's fine. So then I started to ask you for information. So I told you to input your birth year. All right, this wasn't hard. So what did I do? I set the oldest year I'd expect somebody to be the current year, which so now that's 2021 minus 116. So in other words, the oldest I expect somebody to be that's writing this program would be 115 years old. Then I've got this Boolean variable called is valid, and I set it to false. And I'm saying, keep repeating the stuff that's in here until it's true. So I say, what year were you born? And I set birth year to whatever you answer. If the year you entered was greater than 100, was greater than the oldest year. So if it was greater than 1906 or whatever that was, and it's less than the current year plus 1, I just put that in there, I didn't have to. I said, then we set the valid year to true. Otherwise, you assume it's false and you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. All right. Then we come back here and we asked you to input your birth month. And you can see already the code starts getting a little bit bigger. So that was the birth month. You had to put in a number that was greater than 0 and less than 13. So if you put in a number between 1 and 12, it assumes it's valid. Otherwise, it's going to ask you to keep doing it again. All right. Then finally, I came in here and I asked you to put in your birthday. This is where this program in this language started falling apart. And what I mean is, notice how big the program, this code in here got. It starts here and it goes all the way to there. Now you might say that's not that big, but what did I do in here? Well, I asked what day of the month were you were born? And I even told you it would be between 1 and 31, or it would be between 1 and 30, or it would be between 1 and 29, or it would be between 1 and 28, depending on the month you entered for your birth month and depending on whether or not it was a leap year. So I took your answer and I said, if you put in something that was out of range, meaning if you put in something less than 1 or greater than 31, I just said it was false. And it's going to make you ask again. But then is when I had to start accounting for all the other stuff. I'm going to make this a little smaller so you can see all of it. And I realize it's kind of hard to see, but I wanted you to be able to see all of it. So this says if the birth month was 1, or it was 3, or it was 5, or it was 7, or it was 8, or it was 10, or it was 12. If it's one of those 7 months and we put in a number that was between 1 and 31, that's okay. So I said, set this thing called is valid to true. Then if that wasn't the case, then I asked if the month we entered was either 4, meaning it was April, or 6, meaning it was June, or 9, meaning it was September, or 11, meaning it was November. If we did that and we entered a number less than 30, again, it's true. All right. Otherwise, I've got in here that it was false. All right. If we get down to here, it was February, because that's the only month that's left. So in here, I said, if the birth month is true and it's a leap year, and we put in a day that's less than 30, meaning 1 to 29, we set it to true. Otherwise, if it's a leap year, if it's February, but it's not a leap year, and we put in a number that's 1 to 28, it's true. Otherwise, the whole thing is false. And that's all I put in here. And you'll notice then when I run this, what is your name? So I put in my name. And it says what today is. That's that thing that I figured out by putting that stuff together. And it says, what year were you born? If I leave it blank, it just asks you all over again. Or if I put in something that is out of range, 2222, it just asks me all over again. But if I put in, for example, let's say that I was born in 2000. All right. Then it comes in and it says your birth year is 2000 and your leap year status is true. What that means is 2000 is a leap year. So now it says, what month were you born in? Well, let's say I put in 6. It says your birth month is 6. Now, what day of the year were you born? Now, there's only 30 days in June, but I'm going to put in 31. And it didn't take it because that's out of range. All right. So I'll put in 30. Let's say that was my birthday. Boom. Your birthday is 30. Again, that's all I put in. But you'll notice that if I do come in and run the program again, And again, you put in what is your name, and I'll put in Jeff, and it tells today's date. And now it comes in and it says what year were you born. So again, I'll put in here 1999, and it says that's your birth year. Now it says your leap year status is false. That's not a leap year. All right. So if I put in a month that's out of range, like 22, it doesn't accept it. Or if I leave it blank, it doesn't accept it. But now if I put in 2, since it's not a leap year, if I put in 29, which would be invalid, it doesn't take it. So you can see, hopefully, just in the little bit of code that I did, all right, how much code that took. Now, I want to show you one of the reasons, at least, why I didn't get any further with this. So I'm going to change my share to bring back up. Can you see the homework assignment on the screen right now? Final Scratch programming assignment. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay. So I did all this. Not very much, really, but in other languages, they've got built-in functionality where you can ask the system how many years, how many months, how many days. All right. Well, I got into the middle of doing that and I had a bunch of errors. So that's why I didn't get any further. So then I thought, well, I'll go in and I'll look for the stuff that's in here for the zodiac. So I went out to here. Can you now see the zodiac sign stuff? Can you see that or not?
Yes.
Okay. So the problem with this is what I had to do was I had to figure out if your birth, the date that you put in was between January 20th and February 18th. If it was, you were an Aquarius. Or if you put in between February 19th and March 20th, you were a Pisces, etc. All the way through. But again, Scratch doesn't have anything built into it that allows you to put that in and basically you'll put in a birth date and boom, have it jump like that for you. And again, I didn't have time to build it. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just being honest with you. All right. So then I thought, well, what if I do this? And what if I go back and I go to that Chinese New Year thing that I put in? But it was the same kind of problem. Do you see the Chinese New Year stuff up here? Can you see that on the screen? Where it says, what's your zodiac animal? Can you see that or not?
Yes.
Okay. So I would have had to have checked to see if your birth year was one of these, then you were a rat. If it was one of these, then you were an ox. If it was one of these, then you were a tiger, etc. So what I am going to try to do, and I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to do this or not, but what I'm going to try to do this weekend is to get a little bit further with this. And then what I will do is it is shared already, but I will send whatever I finish up with this, I will send this to everybody who was in this class. So you've got a copy of it. All right. And that's really all I had. There's 2 more things I wanted to say. You've heard them both already, but I'm going to say them again anyway. Number 1 is yesterday, Ms. Bragg should have sent the form for you to do the evaluation of the course. I hope that you've got it. And if you have not filled it out, I hope you will fill it out or you and your parents will fill it out. Be honest and send it back to her. Second, so far, 4 of you have sent me your picture. All right. You've emailed it to me or you put it out on the chat, etc. I'm going to leave the chat up until 2 o'clock, even though we're almost finished. And if any of you want to send me your picture, make sure I've got your name and your picture. And again, you've already seen this. I understand. But what I hope to be able to finish up this weekend is to build something like this. Hopefully you can see this where it says our awesome campers right here. But then your pictures will be here and here, etc. Those people who were in the class but did not send me a picture, it'll look like this. Again, I only put in first names. That's it. And then any of you who sent me links to the programs that you created, I'll put links to them in here. All right. And I think one or two of you have already. If that's all I get, then I'll have 3 of them here. And for these, I might put in a couple that we did as a class. If I get 8 of them, then I'll put 4 in one row and 4 in another row. All right. So I'll do that. So again, I hope you enjoyed the class. I hope you got something out of it. If you're not going to be a high schooler this year, if you're going to be still in junior high or grade school or whatever, I did talk to Ms. Bragg, and she said the plan right now is for all of the camps next year to be taught either at the St. Louis campus or at the Wentzville campus. All right. And to show you one last thing before I finish up, and that is, let me switch back and go here and close this. I know you can't see what I'm doing. You'll see it in a second. All right. So let me do a stop my share and do a new share here. Can you see a thing up here that says a page that says visit Mo? Can you see that on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we're going to be building in the website design class. So this has got a little slideshow to it. And there's another about page. And you can click here and it'll show you the history of Missouri. All right, you can click here and it'll show you basically, a little bit more about the history of Missouri. You can click here and it'll take you to the homepage for the Cardinals and for the Blues and for the new St. Louis City Fight Club. Then we're going to actually do some programming where here, this is an unbelievably simple program where you click it and it asks you to enter how many miles you drove. So I'll put in 300 and it says, how many gallons of gas did you use? And I'll say 10. All right. And then it'll say the input for miles driven was 300. The input for gallons used was 10. The calculated miles per gallon was 30. Then we're going to rewrite that. And this is an actual JavaScript program where notice if I don't put numbers in, it gives me an error. So if I put something in that's out of range, 11111111, it gives me a different error. So if I put something out of range, it says out of range entry. If I put nothing in there, it says non-numeric entry. If I put in 300 here, it does the same kind of thing for my gallons used, non-numeric. Or if I put in something that's out of range entry. But if I put a 10 in here again, and I click it, it shows then the miles per gallon. All right, there's also help that comes up that brings up a little thing that shows you help. Finally, we're going to come in there and we're going to create a contact form. Okay, it's not going to go anywhere, but just so people learn how to do it. Now, that's as far as I've gotten with this. But right now, if I make this smaller, what you're going to notice is this contact form is not what we call responsive. It doesn't shrink in its size, and it should. That's what I've got to finish up this weekend, is I'm going to make it responsive. So we're going to do that. And then on the last day, I'm going to have each person, kind of like you did today, is going to create their own landing page. All right. So next year, I'm not sure what we will offer. If we'll offer Scratch again, my guess is since we did it twice in a row now, we probably won't. Will we offer the website design? Usually we offer that one because students seem to like it. Now, 2 years ago, I taught Python for a week. All right. And I've taught, another time I taught what's a product that's called App Inventor. And App Inventor is a lot like Scratch, but you can take your App Inventor programs and literally download them to an Android phone and run them from there. So I had people putting stuff on their phones. So we might do that. Now, if you're interested in either Python, or if you're interested in website design, or if you're interested in App Inventor or something else, when you fill out those evaluation forms, put that down. Because what Ms. Bragg does is she basically bases what she's going to do on what people want. All right. Hopefully all of that made sense. And again, last thing, again, you've already heard it, but if you want to, if you've done any of your own work in here for scratch.
How do I share that?
Yeah. So if you've done any of this, hopefully you can see now this page with a scratch cat right in the middle. All right. If you can share what you've done either by putting it in the chat. So in other words, you would come into here, you'd go into the chat that I'll keep open till 2. And all you have to put in here is something like, you'd put in like your name. So like mine would be Jeff Scott. All right. And then afterwards, don't hit enter because it sends it right away. But then put in, for example, this is the one that I just showed you. So this is the one, where were you born, and all that other good stuff. So you put in your name, a space, and then you put in that. You hit enter, and then I can get to it. That's the easiest way for me to get to your stuff. Does anybody have any last questions? All right, then, even though I know it's early, thanks for participating in the class. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did as well.
I did
Take care,
too.
and I'll see you.
See you. Thank you for this
Bye-bye.
amazing week.
Yeah, for me too. Thank you. And again, I'm going to leave this chat window up. I'm going to stop taping, but I'm going to leave the chat window up until 2 o'clock. So for 35 more minutes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.